We begin, though, with the grift scandal that is already hitting what is a young Trump transition team. A Trump-connected website, which has pretty good sourcing, Just the News, had reported on allegations of a top Trump aide peddling access instead of draining the swamp. Indicted Trump lawyer Boris Epshteyn, facing allegations he tried to get paid to promote people who would then come into the new administration, basically seeking money from people seeking jobs. Now, the allegations, you see Epshteyn there, at Donald Trump's New York case, he was basically facing allegations that another Trump lawyer was then tasked with internally probing him. The New York Times reporting about this internal review, Trump's legal team finding evidence that a top advisor, that's Epshteyn, asked for retainer fees from potential appointees in order to promote them for jobs in the new administration. That's how the Times reports it. This includes alleged interactions with people who are tapped for posts that could impact trillions of dollars, including the Treasury Secretary nominee. According to the review, Epshteyn met with that nominee and proposed, the Times says, $30,000 to $40,000 a month in exchange for promoting him around Mar-a-Lago. There was apparently a call set up between the two in this reporting, with Epshteyn getting tough and saying he was Boris effing Epshteyn and he should be paid. Now, when you look at something like this, on the one hand, you may say, is this par for the course? Donald Trump has done a fair amount of self-promotion and what some people view as conning and grifting. It's been well documented for many years, and so you might not be surprised that the people around him are doing it. Whether any laws were violated is a matter for the authorities and the investigators. The Trump campaign, according to these reports, was concerned enough to actually do an internal review. This matters, though, in a much larger way because it is an incoming administration. So we are talking about already some early cracks and tensions around this team and the people inside and how they expect to do business and what they can get away with. And in a sign that this matters, even apart from, again, what I showed you, a kind of conservative website covering it, the New York Times covering it, there's also been a rare public warning from Donald Trump's son, Eric, who says that his dad, the president-elect, is drawing a line here while also stating he thinks maybe the reporting is false. But he also gets in this short soundbite that if true, there'll be repercussions.
My father has been incredibly clear. You do not do that under any circumstance. And believe me, there will be repercussions if somebody was. So I've never seen that side of him. I've known him for a very long time. And, I certainly hope the reporting's false. And I can also tell you if it's true, the person will probably no longer be around.
That's how Eric Trump puts it. As for the person, well, the internal review reportedly found that, quote, Epstein's proximity to Mr. Trump should be terminated. Well, there's no public reporting at this point tonight that that's happening. Epshteyn, by the way, denies these allegations completely. We want to report that. He stood by Trump through many legal controversies, from defending Trump at the New York trial to election clashes to him ultimately getting indicted himself in connection with efforts to overthrow Trump's 2020 loss. He was indicted in Arizona on that score. And before he was indicted about this, we were following these leads and also interviewing people and also trying to fairly hear their side of the story and whether they denied it or what they said. So back then, Epshteyn defended himself and basically argued that he and other lawyers were doing these things according to law.
I was part of the process to make sure there were alternate electors for when, as we hoped, the challenges to the seated electors would be heard and would be successful per the 12th Amendment of the Constitution and the Electoral Count Act. Everything that was done illegally by the Trump legal team, according to the rules and under the leadership of Rudy Giuliani.
You heard him state it there. If you want to be as open-minded as possible, he might have meant to have said legally. In the sound, it almost sounds like he said it illegally. People can use their own ears and decide that. And he references Giuliani as a kind of name check. Of course, Rudy Giuliani has had a slew of legal problems, both on overthrowing the election and civil defamation, which he was found guilty and liable for. So there are a lot of different issues swirling around that look worse for some of these individuals now as opposed to then. And for people who say, well, does Donald Trump's victory change everything? Well, it changes a heck of a lot for him and the country, but legally, these state cases will continue. Boris Epshteyn is presumed legally innocent in that case like any other for a criminal defendant, but he has that issue going, and now the scrutiny on whether he was, as alleged, trying to profit off this transition period. Donald Trump has his own view of all this, which is he doesn't like that the New York Times story he thinks is bad press. Quote, I don't believe I've had a legitimately good story in the New York Times for years, he's saying about this. The scandal also renews attention on something that has been warned about which is how Donald Trump, past, present, and transition, which is going into the future, has empowered a heck of a lot of people who have had a lot of ethics problems. And remember, ethics is not a left-right, blue-red issue. If you are looking for competent government, you don't want people who are compromised, subject to blackmail, or only personally profiteering. And if you happen to be a Republican or a MAGA supporter who's hoping that this next administration will do the things Trump was campaigning on, right, deal with complex issues like immigration from multiple countries, or deal with the economy and high prices, then you want competent people working on those issues all day, not working to enrich themselves. But this old school grift has been a problem for all of those things. And Donald Trump's first term, which may have been memory hold for certain people, but these kind of scandals are bringing back the memories, had many of these ethics problems.
Out of a job, multiple scandals taking down another member of the president's cabinet.
Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will step down, leaving the administration under a cloud of suspicion.
Zinke was the subject of more than a dozen government investigations, ranging from improper spending on private charter flights to a questionable development deal with an oil executive.
Embattled EPA Chief Scott Pruitt has resigned.
This is a man who has faced at least 14 different probes into ethical violations during his time as this EPA chief.
Apologies and reimbursements were not enough to save President Trump's embattled Health and Human Services Secretary, who a short time ago resigned over his high-flying travel ways at taxpayers' expense.
Tom Price, right, a cabinet secretary having to resign in a big corruption scandal.
As for Donald Trump, there are ethics groups that say he took in many millions of dollars, including from foreign money, which of course is a big source of potential corruption that you care about from a national security and other perspectives during the administration. Much of that was funded through his Washington hotel. So you take that all together, and then you add the fact on top of all these facts that even as Donald Trump's own campaign lawyers, according to the New York Times reporting, were reviewing another of their lawyers, an indicted one, over this kind of grift. Against this backdrop, they are still avoiding FBI background checks or coordinating with the transition teams that are always done through the federal government and taking secret money. Remember the money I just mentioned? Right now, they're taking secret money from wherever. It could be donors that have agenda items or demands, could be foreign money, and they won't say where the money's coming from. It's more than suspicious. It is a problem for all of the things that Donald Trump told the voters he wanted to do, because we are right back to those headlines I told you about from the first term, where a heck of a lot of people were in a heck of a lot of trouble for basically acting like Trump, but not getting away with it.